You shouldn't be paying, in my opinion, for PR and promo and these companies to do that for you in such an early stage, because at the end of the day, you most likely don't have something that they're really going to be able to work with, in my opinion. And once you take control of your career too, you'll see how easy it is to generate traffic and really dictate where your career is going, on your own. And then when you deal with companies, you know more, because when they say, oh, we can do this, you can be like, oh, well, I can do that for this price, or I've already done that.
It's the MEC podcast, episode 14. We have a special guest today. People told me that I was boring, and Dame was saving the show, and so I brought on a third person. We're gonna keep building the dynamic here. And before we start, special shout out to everybody who's tuning in on Audio Mac. We appreciate you. We have a whole bunch of listeners on that platform, and we appreciate that platform for being free for all users. Mike Trampe, what's going down, sir? Thanks for being a guest today.
Payne one, thanks for having me. Dame, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys reaching out.
I just realized some people might be living under a rock, and they don't know who you are. They haven't seen you on The Voice or America's Got Talent. So can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the BeatStars marketing and social media director. I've been with BeatStars since like 2010, 2011, but full time since about 2 years in November. So, played a big role in everything that BeatStars is doing and, what we have for the future. So that's probably, how you would know me if you don't know me.
So now it's time for me to introduce today's topic, which is my video. Dame's going to cuss me out in a second. I made a video, I want to say last week or 2 weeks ago, called The Music Business is a Scam, where I talk about how rampant scamming is in the new music industry this year, last year, probably next year. Then I gave a couple strategies as to how to verify whether or not an opportunity that's presented to you is legitimate. But the takeaway for me is that if somebody's reaching out to you, offering you a service you didn't ask for, especially one that they're charging you for, which is the case in 10 out of 10 scenarios, that's a scam. And then there are some other pretty obvious red flags, people asking you to send them money, friends and family, or wire, methods of exchanging money that give you no option for a refund or any other kind of recourse. But Dame had some things to say about it.
No, I mean, do you want to quickly just give them a recap of what the video was about? Just quickly, just because maybe not everybody saw the video that's listening to this podcast.
I think this has been happening for a long time, and it's frustrated me. And I've made videos about it and discussed it here and there. But what inspired that video was that I received an email that same morning from a company, purportedly a magazine, an online magazine, that reached out and at first made it seem as though they just wanted to interview me. And then when I responded saying, yeah, give me some more details about the interview, they said, yeah, it's just $50 for editorial. What was the term they used? Editorial privilege?
I don't remember the term, but continue. So
I just wanted to talk about how rampant these scams are and share with the community the fact that it's happening to everybody. It's happening to me. It's happening to rappers. It's happening to other producers. It's happening to probably people that don't even make music. Everybody's getting, people who don't even, it's happening to Mike.
Oh, no, I had a question, but go ahead.
But is it happening to you? Do you get emails like this?
Oh, yeah, every day.
There you go.
I've been in the business 15 plus years, man. So, I get emails from all over the place.
Same.
But I have a question for you based off of you calling this a scam. Do you know anybody who went through with this $50 interview? Or you're just going based off, what you received?
Well, I checked to see, okay, perhaps scam.
This is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. No, I'm calling it a scam, and here's why. Because when I got the email, they threw out all these names of past partners, and they were saying, well, we're trying to create the same kind of partnership with you. And they dropped all these names like Smino, all these high-profile musicians that I know damn well didn't pay them $50. That's asinine. So that was red flag number one. Number two was the fact that when I checked their Instagram, all of their likes and comments are either people calling them scams or a bunch of fake profiles saying stuff like, "Ooh, so great picture." You know what I'm saying? And then checking their traffic on all major traffic estimator websites, they had no data. The only website I could get data from was StatShow, and they were estimated to receive about 300 views a day or visits a day, or impressions, I forget. But either way, that's low. I'm not paying $50 for that. So this company is in no position, even if they were completely legitimate, they're in no position to charge for their platform.
Right.
I mean, if I have 50 followers on Twitter, I'm going to start charging people $10 per retweet. It's not worth it.
You could, though. That your opinion on them not being, they shouldn't be able to do that is just your opinion.
That part's the opinion. The other stuff is what makes me think it's a scam.
Right. My only problem with the video is that the reason I started the Music Entrepreneur Club was to kind of break down some of these perceptions of the music industry being a scam, right? Of this deep, dark place where everybody's taking advantage of you left and right. And don't get me wrong, like stuff like this happens time and time again, but the stuff that like that to me happens in every industry. And with any amount of sense, any amount of education, you should be able to sidestep these type of things, right? So, and I think I brought the example to you when I talked to you earlier in the week. That's like falling for the penis enlargement ads at the back of men's and health and fitness magazines. If you think that's going to work, that's because you're an idiot and you've never done any amount of research, right? If you walk into a car dealership for the first time and you don't know what you're doing, you're probably not going to get the best deal because you didn't educate yourself, you didn't research other cars, you didn't learn how to negotiate. If you take some pills and you don't read the bottle or go to an actual doctor, like, people think that the music industry is so dark and shady because you have so many idiots running up in it without doing any type of research or education about the industry that they want to be in. So it becomes a scammy place because idiots fall for stuff like this. But it's the only industry that you can just run up in and say that you are a part of without any barrier, without any certification, without any numbers of years of experience. To me, that's the only reason that the industry is such a scammy and shady place. However, if you joined our live sessions, if you continue to listen to our podcast, if you continue to network and build with the right people, you can see that there's a lot of people doing very good business. And when you're approached with one of these scams, you can be like, oh, that's easy. I can easily stiff arm that because I know, just using my common sense, that it's not legit. That's my only concern, because that's why I started the Music Entrepreneur Club, so that we can start looking at the music industry a different way, so that people can put their guard down a little bit and just educate themselves and move with confidence instead of so much skepticism. And I'm not saying anything you said was wrong. I agree that the people that reached out to you, it looked scammy to me, but I was able to tell that you would probably able to tell that within the first 2 lines of the email, first 3 lines of the email, because you have experience, because you actually are in the industry, you've educated yourself. That's my only thing. And
I actually agree with Dame on this one, Payne. Well, I do think a lot of stuff is scammy and spammy. If you ended up paying these people $50 and they did publish your interview or whatever it was to their 10 followers, you were still paying for a service. So to me, that's not a scam. That's just a really shitty investment. So it goes back to research and just knowing what to sidestep and what to, engage with. And that comes with time and experience.
Maybe the music industry needs like its own Yelp, where you can go to the Yelp and see this service, see who's used it, see how many stars they have, see what kind of comments they have. I mean, I think the music industry would definitely benefit. That's what people are accustomed to doing, is looking at ratings and things like that. I mean, I'm sure people will figure out a way to game that, but
exactly.
Man, any amount of common sense, man, I swear. It's like a lot of these services are reaching out to you, and I made a video about this, but a lot of these services are reaching out to you they're not even asking to listen to your music, but they're promising to do things for your music. Like, how can you promise to do something for my music and you don't even know what it sounds like? That shit is crazy. So if you fall for some type of service like that, where they don't even care what your music sounds like, but they're promising you a playlist placement, like, you gotta know that that's not the most popping playlist if they didn't even listen to the music. They were just throwing songs on the playlist. Like, that don't even take education. That just takes, like, thinking about it for a second. Like, hold on, like, what kind of playlist is this where people can just pay to get on it? Why would anybody listen to that playlist? So what type of fans am I really going to get access to?
All right, to play devil's advocate and to defend myself at the same time. The definition of a scam is a dishonest scheme. So if this magazine is dishonest about their previous clients, if this magazine is dishonest about their social media following, is that a scam? If I'm very honest and I say, look, this is a magazine that has a readership of 300 people a day, and we actually have never worked with big names, but we're trying to give you a platform, it's $50. To me, there's nothing dishonest about that. I'm just going to say you're crazy. I'm not paying you for that. That's a ridiculous offer. True. But to say we've partnered with Lizzo, we've partnered with Fetty Wap, we've done all this stuff knowing damn well they didn't do it. There's no evidence of it.
Well, maybe they, and I don't know if they did or not. And I think it's scammy myself, so I don't really want to argue over the definition.
Oh, hey, Dame's on my side today. Cheers, Dame.
I think it's whack. I mean, it could be possible that they truly believe that what they're doing for you is worth $50. That could be possible. You know, but to me, and they could have worked with Smino and Fetty Wap, but maybe they didn't pay. They just, their definition of worked with was they copied a Hip Hop DX article over to their site and put it on their site, right? We don't know.
I think you're right about that.
We don't know what the definition of worked with was, right? People are very vague. You know. Yeah, I agree that I think this is scam, but it could be possible. I don't know these people, so it could be possible that they truly believe that what they're doing is worth $50. But, and that we see a lot, right? There's a lot of people selling services and things, and, you know, on trainings and all these different things. It's like, well, what makes it worth $500? What makes the training, like, well, they think it is. You may think it's not. Well, you don't buy it. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to argue over whether or not this is actual scam without these. You should invite them on the podcast, and we can have a conversation about whether or not their service is a scam, so we can figure out, you know, do they really think their service is $50, or are they just trying to get $50 from paying?
I'll give them your email because I already burned that bridge.
Yeah, you guys are giving them a lot of free promotion, man. Talking about them, not having them on the show. Shit.
I didn't say their name once so far. Not once. But okay, so Dame, you said, yeah, and my video can imply that the music business is this shadowy, dark back alley. And your point is taken that every industry has that shadowy back alley full of scammers and dishonest people and disingenuous services. I agree with that, and I never would ever in a million years want to convey that as my opinion. That's not my opinion. There are lots of good people in the business. But my question is, are there good people in the business offering these types of services, cold calling random musicians, offering these services with some kind of upfront fee?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, but again, I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, we offer a service, right? And our weekly sessions are $13 a month. For me, I feel like the value of them is hundreds of dollars per month, because I've been in the industry for over 10 years now, and I know what we do. I know who we give access to. And if I were just getting into the music industry, if this was 2008 and I saw the types of people that we bring to the table, like, I would have paid hundreds of dollars a month. We have the opposite problem, right? Like, people either don't understand exactly what we do, don't value what we're doing at $13 a month when I know it's worth way more than that, because the people that we're bringing to the table have years and years of experience. Sometimes these people are actually collabing with them. Sometimes these people are giving away their email address. I would have paid hundreds of dollars a month for this type of stuff. So we have the opposite problem where we need to get people to really understand the value of tuning into our live sessions, because there's some people that might be looking at what we're doing like a scam because they just don't know. So it's really just, a misperception of value, and lack of education, essentially. I don't think I answered your question, but that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think our model as a music business mentorship program with content that's already out, with a list of industry insiders that we've actually brought in, and we have evidence of that, is completely different from somebody promising PR services. So that's what I'm referring to. Are there PR services? Are there promotional services, marketing services out there that are legitimate, that reach out to artists at a certain level in their careers when they don't have these big budgets, when they don't have huge fan bases? Can you conceive of, or can you even name a company that would reach out to an artist with 100 plays on SoundCloud and say, hey, I see that you're making music for $50. I can elevate your career, or I can promote, I can market. Are there any legitimate services that you can think of that would do that?
I can't think of any that would reach out to artists at that level, right? Most of
okay, Mike can.
Most of the, just a second. Like like most of the good PR services, like marketing services, things like that, it's like word of mouth. At a certain point, people just kind of know each other in the industry. They know who's legit about their PR, and it's just kind of word of mouth. But if Mike knows people that reach out to people with 100 followers and do good work, let's let Mike talk about that, because our audience might need them.
It's legitimate work. They actually do and offer different things. Do I value them as something I pay for? Absolutely not. But some people may. It all comes down to what you're looking for at the end of the day. And they do get something out of it. Yeah. It's just how you value what you're getting out of it. I personally don't value it. I tell artists all the time, if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of fans, or you have 100 fans, like, you need to take control of your brand and your data and just run ads and test shit out. You don't even need a big budget to do it. And that's what you should be working on. Like, you shouldn't be paying, in my opinion, for PR and promo and these companies to do that for you in such an early stage, because at the end of the day, you most likely don't have something that they're really going to be able to work with, in my opinion. And once you take control of your career too, you'll see how easy it is to generate traffic and really dictate where your career is going, on your own. And then when you deal with companies, more, because when they say, oh, we can do this, you can be like, oh, well, I can do that for this price, or I've already done that. It's all about experience. So just be very careful, I think, with companies that do offer stuff to, artists and stuff that have like smaller fan bases. Don't let any. Go ahead.
Mike, you said a service that. So you said a service that reaches out to artists at lower levels and. Mm-hmm. Could be quality. I don't know if you didn't say that exact word, but then you said I wouldn't use them. But I'm assuming that's based on like your experience and kind of knowing that what they're doing is not helpful, especially at that level.
Exactly.
So essentially you don't know anybody that reaches out to artists at that level. You know people that reach out to people at that level, but you don't know anybody that you would recommend because they do good work.
Yeah, let me be more clear. So they don't necessarily scam people, and they don't necessarily, do bad business. I just think what you're paying for isn't worth it to me. It's just, there's so much stuff that you can do on your own and be in control, instead of paying somebody $300 to do something that you could easily have done much more with that budget. And that's a whole other conversation of like how to take maybe it's something we could do in the future, how to take $500 and what I would tell you to do with it on a marketing perspective. Might be a cool idea. But anywho, yes, so it doesn't necessarily make them scammers and bad people. It's just I don't value what they're doing. for something that I would pay for. It wouldn't make sense for me, but it might make sense for the guy with 100 fans because he's never cuts the stage. He's never been on a email blast. Who knows? I don't know. It's just what you value, and I don't value stuff.
That's
like
a fair point. That's a fair point. If you need stage time, if you're trying to build up an EPK or something, I get it. And I think it goes back to what you were saying about knowing how to generate your own traffic. So if you're focusing on your own brand and building it up the smart way, which not everybody can do, then you're so hyper focused on seeing the progress from your organic reach, from telling your story, from engaging with potential fans, that you're not even focused on paying for a radio interview or something that you know isn't going to necessarily elevate your brand beyond what you already can do just by putting in more hours. And I think that's the frustrating part of the journey as an artist, is that you might put in super hard work for 6 months straight and still not be seeing what you think you ought to be seeing. But that's the nature of small business too. I mean, you can invest all your money in opening a grocery store in a certain neighborhood, and within 6 months you're still not making a profit. Do you give up? Do you file bankruptcy and close your doors, or do you see what happens 6 months from then? With music, it's the same thing, and I think artists get desperate and frustrated and scared, and they think, well, I've been doing this for a long time, and I haven't seen the results I wanted, so let me go ahead and pay this $50, let me go ahead and pay this $300 for an interview on such and such a radio station. And then they don't get the results that they want, because granted, they're paying for something that they actually receive. You pay the $300, you're actually on this channel, you're actually, you might pay to get on World Star. But are you converting all those views into fans? Are you converting any of those views into fans? And if you don't have your branding right, then no, you're not. And I know people for whom paying a bunch of money to get on World Star might actually be worthwhile, because they have their branding down, they have their look down. I don't think World Star randomly reaches out to people like me and says, hey, $50. But the point is, it's not what's right for one person isn't right for another, and that's why you have to know what's right for you as an artist.
Ultimately, I mean, I think the big problem is artists are looking for a silver bullet. Like, artists are looking for that one thing that's going to take them from 0 to 10, and it just doesn't work like that, right? They're looking for everything under the sun to help them outside of putting in hard work, consistent quality content, perfecting their brand, and continuing to get better and engaging with their fans, because they're looking for anything else to do but that, right? Because that is tough and that is hard. And if there is somebody with a magic button or a magic service, I want to find that person.
Me too.
Because this hard work shit, that's not for me. Like, this whole takes years to make it happen, that's not for me, because I heard that so-and-so met so-and-so and he put him on. Now, 5 months later, he's making tens of thousands of dollars. And the shit does not work like that. So that ultimately is one of the huge problems, is cats that are trying to find this button or just circumvent the system, or just not willing to put in the work. Because I'll tell you, there's no magic button, man. There's people that have relationships, but even the people that have relationships, you have to earn those relationships. And I think that was something that was in a tweet recently, right, Payne, where you're talking about. Actually, it was the Payne's BeatStars relationship, right? Somebody was saying, well, Payne got the BeatStars co-sign, and then I chimed in because I'm nosy on Twitter. I'm like, bro, BeatStars, he didn't just get that BeatStars relationship just because he smiled and winked at him. It's like, bro, he put in years and years of work. He put out dope beats, and it made sense because there's a mutually beneficial relationship. So he essentially worked for that relationship. Abe didn't just, they're not cousins and they're not brothers or whatever. They didn't just say, hey, Payne, start doing these interviews. We're going to start sending a bunch of fans and exposure your way for your beats.
Even though people do think Abe and I are the same person.
People think you and I are the same person.
That's true.
But Payne, what's I don't know about funny, but interesting about the whole relationship you have with BeatStars is, I know we spoke on it in Philly, but like most people don't know that me and you know each other for like 12 years.
Yeah.
So our relationship goes back a long, long, long time.
And it's you're the reason that I even joined BeatStars.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And,
well, no, it's true. You asked me. You had to convince me. I was like, nah, man, I don't want to do this. And you're like, no, you're an idiot. You could actually be getting your beats out to a lot of people and making more of an income. And you were right. I was wrong.
Thanks. I like to hear that. I don't hear that from the wife, so I like to hear that from somebody. No, but what I'm saying is that just shows you how important relationships are and how long it takes to get certain places. Because 12 years ago when we met, we were doing, Get Your Buzz Up showcases in Madison, Wisconsin, and kind of on our own journeys and not really know where we were going at that point. So everything happens for a reason, and it's not just because we saw DJ Payne 1. We're like, oh, let's give this guy a bunch of exposure and send a bunch had producers and clients to him. No, there's nothing to do about that. So
the funny thing about that is like we had known each other for a good 10 years before you even started working with BeatStars. So that was a relationship that we fostered by giving each other opportunities over 10 years and being consistent. I knew I could always count on you. Hopefully you knew you could always count on me if you asked me to do something. So yeah, a relationship isn't just a relationship because two people know each other. It's a relationship because two people trust each other and rely on each other when they need somebody reliable. And with the whole BeatStars interviews thing, I was doing the interviews to begin with, and I think I brought it up to you and you brought it up to Abe. I was like, look, I'm doing these interviews. I know producers. Let's make this a situation that's mutually beneficial. I'm thankful that it worked out. Yeah. So shout out to that. But I want to ask one last question because I got a couple comments and I got tons of comments on this video. It went viral for whatever reason, semi-viral. So first I got cussed out by some anonymous user. This gotcha culture of trying to expose people, this gossip, it's whack and girly. This magazine tried to sell you ad space for exposure. Basically, that's business. It's not a scam. You don't know the industry.
I actually kind of agree with that guy, dude. I just think it's a really shitty investment, man. Like,
do you agree with the part where he called me a mulatto dog?
Isn't needed, but I actually kind of agree.
I'm kidding. He didn't call me that. Oh, but you do agree that I'm girly and whack.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Capital W on the whack part. But no, I think it's a really shitty investment, and I wouldn't advise anyone of doing it. But if they still are giving you something for what they're offering, it is business to an extent. But again, if they're lying about who their clients are, dude, it's just, listen, this is a rabbit hole we could go down and go back and forth on forever. I just think people need to be smarter in their decisions and do more research and get more experience under the belt before they just start throwing cash out the window. And if you want to throw cash out the window, I can leave my cash app after the show, and you guys can send me money and I'll go gamble it or something.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. This is the real comment that I wanted to address though. Someone replied to that guy saying, facts. Most magazines, blogs, and playlist curators are charging for features in some form or another. Even major artists are having to pay. Is that your experience? Is that something that artists at all levels should expect? Paying for press, paying for playlists.
Go ahead, Dame. You can take this one if you want.
No, it's not. I mean, there are reputable. So this is, I don't know how far this podcast is going to go, but this is why I became so upset with Rap Radar. I can't remember what South by Southwest it was. This was probably like 2014, 2015. Elliott Wilson was on a panel, and they laughed about their platform being like a pay for play thing, and I just looked at them sideways. Like, so there are legit platforms. I don't think like the buzzing artists are paying for anything, right? But there are even WorldStar to me is a legit platform. They get a shitload of views. Do they exaggerate some of their views on their videos? I believe that they do, but their website does get a shitload of traffic, right? So if you paid for a WorldStar post, I just think, like you alluded to earlier, you need to be ready for that, right? And that needs to be the audience that is your target audience, right? Damn, I forgot your question again. But there are legit platforms that do require payment, but they're not reaching out. WorldStar, you can be like any level and pay a certain amount and get on there, I believe.
I think it's $750 for a video, I believe.
Yeah, it's just going back to your point. It's just timing, and is it worth the investment? But some of those user submitted videos, I believe they inflate the views on there, right? Because sometimes if they embed the actual YouTube video, they'll be on the WorldStar page, it will say like 50,000 views, and then when you click through to the YouTube video, it'll have like 400 views. So there's definitely some type of disconnect there. But I don't know if Rap Radar still charges people to get exposure on their platform, because the value of these platforms has decreased dramatically. So I wouldn't pay to get on any of these websites, to be honest. And we never have. Through my career in the music industry, Funk Volume, and every artist that I've worked with, we've never paid to get onto a website ever. We've used PR folks that have relationships with these platforms, and we've done press runs and things like that, but we've never paid a platform directly to get exposure on their site.
Payne, so here's the thing, man. So with these platforms, and just if everybody doesn't know, I worked at Hip Hop DX from 2007 through 2014, so I would say I have a pretty good idea of how platforms, like especially blogs and stuff, work. It was a totally different time, as Dame alluded to back then, as blogs were actually breaking people back then. In the early years I was there, but the end of the day, man, these sites want traffic. Like, they're making money off of their traffic. Advertising is what's driving their business. So for the larger artists, and why you probably see 40 different Tekashi 6ix9ine articles in every website, is because people are interested in it. Whether you hate the guy or like the guy, people are clicking on it and people want to read about it or watch a video about it. So as you get more established and you catch their eyes, they're going to actually probably reach out to you and want to put you on there because you're going to be driving traffic to their platform. My problem with paying for blog posts or paying for any type of that type of stuff is the stuff that comes after the actual post. How are you measuring and finding out what you're getting from that? Where are the analytics? What are you tapping into? Are you getting emails? Are you getting whatever it is? It's really hard to judge. Yeah, if you put a video up on WorldStar and it blows up because it's just some crazy ass video, yeah, you could definitely get a lot more followers and all that. So I'm not saying it's all bad, but I think what people really need to ask themselves before they pay for any type of interview posting or blog posting or getting your song up is really how much is it worth and what are you getting out of it? Because time and time again, I see people pay money, they get these posts, they sit there, they get no traffic, and they think these blogs or whatever are going to magically help them, blow up. Like Dame said, everybody's looking for that, that secret sauce is what people ask me. What's the secret sauce? There is no secret sauce. Work hard, be smart, control your data, and control who your fan base is. I mean, it takes time, but that's something you got to exercise in this industry, is patience and consistency. So that's kind of my take on it. I just think the blogs want to charge, cool. I just think people need to look at it a little bit more efficiently and seeing what they're actually getting out of it. Besides saying, hey, I have a post on Rap Radar. Okay, cool. What else did you get from it? That's it. Okay, so what changed from today to tomorrow based off that post? Like, what's the difference? Yeah. If you can measure that difference, that's something you really need to think about. But I'd say probably 8 times out of 10, you're not getting shit from it. So.
Yeah, especially like one post, right? When major labels orchestrate these big marketing campaigns, they have huge budgets where they can take over kind of the internet and like have posts everywhere, not just on one particular platform. It's like everywhere you turn, we know that so-and-so's album coming out. We know that Travis Scott's album's coming out because he just did a press run. All this press is happening at the same time. And it's never just like, oh, let me just put a post on Hip Hop DX and see what happens. Like, that's going to do nothing for you, right? So until you have the ability to take over the internet with a marketing campaign, I wouldn't just look for a one-off blog post to do any damn thing.
Nope.
There's just too much content that gets posted. That one blog post that you paid to get on, they probably posted 300 posts the same day.
Exactly.
And your shit just got filtered out. So, I would look at social media followings or some of these platforms, and I would look to try to actually create content with them, because as opposed to Hip Hop DX just posting a video about you in their feed, like if they would work with you to create content, to participate in a cipher, or to like create video content together that you guys both supported on social media, like that goes obviously way further than posting on their site.
Agreed.
Okay, cool. So to wrap it up, I'm Girly and Whack. Number 2, definitely build your brand up first before paying for any PR, so you know what your goals are and you know what you're getting. Number 3, build relationships, or try to build relationships with these companies if possible. Am I missing any?
My whole thing is just stop looking at the music industry in such a dark way. Look, it's not. There are scams that happen. There's scams that happen in every damn industry. All it takes is most of the times just some common sense, a little education. Ask some people who use the service. Like, it's so easy to sidestep most of the dumb shit that happens in this industry. But that dumb shit labels the whole industry as a scam, and that's just not what I like. So I encourage people to just join the Music Entrepreneur Club. You'll save a lot more money than it costs to join our sessions in the long run. I guarantee a ton more money you'll save.
Or even if you just join our Facebook group, honestly, because you can post a screenshot of that fake email you got from Def Jam wanting to sign you, and they're asking for a $500 deposit on your airfare. People, and that's free. Join Music Entrepreneur Club's Facebook community, and members of the community will say, yep, I got the same thing yesterday from the same person, which I also got 3 months prior. It's fake. Don't send the $500. You just saved $500.
Exactly. Money saved is just as good as money spent. I think. Let me think if I said that right. Yeah, I think
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, we feel you, Dan. We understand. All right, cool, man. Well, once again, Mike, appreciate you. Thanks to everybody listening to the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. MusicEntrepreneurClub.com is how to join us. We have special guests on. We audit. Actually, Mike comes on and audits social media with me. We collaborate. I bring on session players. If you're a producer, Dame has special guests and talks a lot about the music business, management, telling your story, marketing, so forth. So it's valuable. MusicEntrepreneurClub.com. Shout out to everybody consuming our podcast on Audio Mac, Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, so forth. Peace.